Alright, guys. It is Tuesday, November 8th, 2022 at 3:44 p.m. Alright, let's minimize this and open this. Let's go to dailyverses.net for the verse of the day. It says, "But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently." Romans 8:25. Alright, guys, let's start with the National Hurricane Center. We have Nicole on deck, and then we have a disturbance 1 with 30% chance of cyclone formation in 48 hours. This video, the topic will be Nicole, so let's focus on Nicole. Right now, Nicole is a tropical storm. Maximum sustained winds 50 knots or 60 miles an hour. Minimal central pressure of 992 millibars. Located at 27.6 north and 73.3 west. Movement west at 8 knots or 9 miles an hour. So it is heading for the Bahamas and for Florida. Let's take a look at the key messages for Tropical Storm Nicole. Hurricane conditions and a dangerous storm surge are expected in portions of the northwestern Bahamas on Wednesday, where a hurricane warning is in effect. Hurricane conditions are expected across portions of the coast of the southeast and east central Florida beginning late Wednesday or Wednesday night, where a hurricane warning has been issued. Tropical storm conditions are expected in the tropical storm warning areas in Florida and Georgia beginning early Wednesday. A dangerous storm surge is expected along much of the east coast of Florida and portions of coastal Georgia, where a storm surge warning is in effect. The storm surge will be accompanied by large and damaging waves. Residents in the warning area should listen to advice given by local officials, so pay attention to the weather and the news. Alright, do not focus on the exact track of Nicole, since it is expected to be a large storm, with hazards extending well to the north of the center, outside of the forecast cone. These hazards are likely to affect much of the Florida Peninsula and portions of the southeast United States. Nicole will produce heavy rainfall Wednesday and Thursday across the Florida Peninsula. Flash and urban flooding will be likely possible. River rises on the St. Johns River. Flash, urban, and small stream flooding will be possible in southeast Georgia and portions of South Carolina Thursday into Thursday night. Alright. Next we have tropical storm force wind speed probabilities. Here we have the highest winds in the purple, the lower 80 to 70 in the reds right here. This will affect the coast here, the eastern coast of Florida, right there. Then the orange and yellows will go all the way to the panhandle, and then the greens will extend up the eastern seaboard. So this is where tropical storm force wind probabilities are supposed to happen as Nicole travels up Florida, up Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and the rest of the northeast. She's gonna make a loop and scoop up the east coast. So please be aware if you live anywhere in these regions. Alright. Next, we have storm surge. Peak storm surge forecast. Up to 3 feet of storm surge in the Tampa Bay area, in the Miami, Hallandale, Biscayne Bay area, 1 to 2 feet. Then up to 5 feet of storm surge up the Savannah River, all the way down from Georgia, all the way down Jacksonville, all the way down North Palm Beach, all the way down to Miami. Alright, there's also storm surge in effect for the above Tampa and the let me try to read this, Anclote River and the Suwannee River on the western coast of Florida. You're wondering, hey, the hurricane's coming on the East Coast. Why is the West Coast of Florida affected? This puppy is gonna skip right through Florida. It's gonna go right above Florida, and then gonna scoop up the Panhandle, then go up Georgia and North Carolina and South Carolina. So this let me see if I can get a proper drawing tool. This puppy's gonna go like this. So it's gonna come from down here and scoop across. Don't know exactly where in the Panhandle region it's going to make its second landfall, but it's gonna scoop across and go up the East Coast. So this side of Florida is going to be affected, the western side. So please pay attention if you live on the western side of Florida as well. Alright, guys. Next, we have U.S. rainfall totals by inches. We have the possibility of 4 to 6 inches, maybe even 10 inches above Orlando, below Jacksonville. As it makes its turn, the rain accumulation there is going to be bigger. 2 to 4 inches in the green, all the way up the coast of Georgia, up South Carolina and North Carolina. 2 to 4 inches. And then 1 to 2 inches by Miami, below Tampa, and by Atlanta. So there's still going to be a high possibility of a couple of inches of accumulation. Alright, guys, next. Here is the 5-day graphical, meaning that disturbance 1 is going to go towards the east, the northeast, and travel that way, while Nicole travels west. Alright, let's take a look at the earliest reasonable arrival time of tropical storm force winds. By Tuesday 2 p.m., this region right here. By Tuesday 8 p.m. right here. By Wednesday 8 a.m. right there into the coast. So please be aware, Wednesday 8 a.m. and Wednesday 8 p.m. is going to be on land of Florida, making landfall. Thursday 8 a.m. by South Carolina and Georgia and the northern part of Florida. Thursday 8 p.m. South Carolina, North Carolina border. By Friday 8 a.m. North Carolina, and by Friday 8 p.m. is going to pick up speed and go through Virginia, New Jersey, Pennsylvania until it reaches this region, and Friday 8 p.m. So it's going to make a scoop and then head up the East Coast. So everybody in this field should be aware that you could be experiencing tropical storm force winds. Yes, even Vermont and New Hampshire and parts of upstate New York. Alright. And here is the flash flood warnings and the tropical storm warnings for the eastern part of the country. As you see here, all the way from the Bahamas, the eastern coast of Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, parts of North Carolina, all being warned of the possibility of flash flood warning and hurricane warning and tropical storm warning and storm surge coming up the coast. Alright, guys, even the Tampa area experiencing warnings for storm surge once it skips across Florida. Alright. Alright, let's take a look. Here are the tropical storm Nicole model track guidance. It's going to skip across Florida, past the Bahamas, skip across Florida, skip across Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Washington, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Vermont, Maine, and parts of Canada. This is what the major core of the models are showing. It's going to skip across, but look at this one, UKX1. It could have a possibility of going into Alabama. There's one model showing that. So there are possibilities. A hurricane, you never know what it can do. They are unpredictable. Alright, guys. Let's go to the next image. We have Tropical Storm Nicole model intensity guidance. It is forecast to stay a tropical storm. One model shows it going category 1. I've heard of other people saying it could reach up to category 2 if it builds enough strength quickly enough. And we don't know if that's gonna actually work out, but one model here is showing that it could reach category 1 status. So there's always that possibility. So please make sure when you're making preparations that you're aware that it could be a possible category 1 hurricane. Alright. These are the water temperatures for the region. We have the Bahamas at 82 degree temperatures. So right now, between 79 and 82 degree temperatures, the hurricane is sitting in this warm water. That means it's jet fuel for a hurricane. Anything in the 80s region of temperature for ocean water will basically be rocket fuel for a hurricane. So as it reaches the coast of Florida, it'll be 81 degree temperatures. Not as warm as 82 out here where it is currently. So who knows if that's going to affect too much the intensity of the hurricane as it reaches the Florida coast. Alright, next, let's take a look at Windy. Here is where Windy is forecasting the storm to make landfall once it reaches the coast. Let's zoom in so you guys can get a better look at where Windy is forecasting it to land. Right here in Port St. Lucie. That's where Windy's forecasting it to land. I don't know if it will make a little bit more southern track and head to Palm Beach, or if it will make a more northern track and possibly land in Vero Beach or Palm Bay. So we gotta keep an eye on where this is going to land. Possibly make another video once once the days get closer to the possible landfall. Alright, guys. Alright, this is the GFS model on tropical tidbits. Let's take a look where it's forecasting to go. 991 millibar low for Nicole as it approaches 980, the Bahamas, 988, 985, going over where Dorian went over that a couple years ago. 983 low, and then 982 low as it makes landfall. Alright, let's see if I can zoom in so you guys can have a better look at that. 982 possible landfall that low in the peninsula. Alright. And then it goes inland and it moves northwestward a bit. 982 low. Then it goes 984 as it goes over the Tampa and more northern part of the western side of Florida. So it's moving northwestward as it travels across. Then it goes into the Panhandle at 984 millibars. So it's a second landfall on November the 11th. And then it heads towards more of the Panhandle at 900. At 900 and I keep pressing the wrong button. At 989 millibar low as it goes more into Alabama and Georgia. Alright. Then it kind of falls apart and goes 993 millibars, but it's still moving over Georgia. 996 millibars, getting closer to the South Carolina Georgia border. Then it skips really quickly into 997 millibars as it travels over the western side of North Carolina. So please pay attention, the people who live in North Carolina on the western side of the mountains. And then it heads over Virginia and closer to Washington at 995 millibars. And that is by November 12th. Alright guys, that's it for the forecast model for the GFS on tropical tidbits. Alright, here's what Nicole looks like right now. A little bit east of the Bahamas. As the sun is setting, you see it getting a little bit darker in the little snippet of video. But that's what Nicole looks like right now. It is quite a large wind field, up to 700 feet. Large wind field as it travels closer to the Bahamas and Florida. Today it started looking more like a hurricane. As you see a little bit here in the middle, right here, it's starting to look like an eye right there. It's possibly forming. Alright, that means it is strengthening. Alright, this is what Nicole looks like over the Atlantic. It has a larger storm that it kind of detached from, and then is traveling more westward. Alright. And here again, you see here on the eastern side, this region, it detached from this region and is traveling more westward towards Florida and Georgia and the Bahamas as well. Alright. Alright guys, and that's it for the main video part, but the rest is just pretty much me scrolling through Twitter about the other post on Twitter from Mitch West saying, Lord, she might be coming. The cold front currently undergoing a stretch of elongation which will ultimately lead into our pattern change to a cold. A split of the polar vortex now appears possible in the later part of November, which would have a significant impact or implications for December if it verifies. So the cold is coming, guys. The cold is coming. Alright, guys. Here is again the cold from Mark Margave. He said, cue up the Jaws theme. The 12Z Euro is rolling in, and you see the cold front coming from Canada, swooping down. That's going to be another video when I talk about the cold and the temperatures. I'll make a video on that. Alright guys, breaking, the winning 2.4 billion Powerball ticket was sold in Altadena, California, I believe. So please pray for all the people having to deal with this possible Powerball winner. They have to go through a lot, and winning the lottery is a big burden. A lot of people have fallen out of grace by getting a giant Powerball win or lottery win. So please pray for them. Hopefully everything comes out good for them. Alright guys, this is from Fire Photo Girl. All of Oakland Road coming up from the Beaumont side is completely washed out, California. Look at this. Washed out road due to all the rain happening in California. Again, Fire Photo Girl, Oakland Road, just below Potato Canyon, California. Breaking news, look at all this rock slide and mudslide below Potato Canyon. Alright guys, so be safe if you're traveling in California. Look at the NWS Storm Prediction Center. Let's take a look. for this afternoon and evening. Look at California getting a possibility of a lot of snow and rain. And look at all this rain extending all the way up to Idaho. That is a lot of water coming in for the West Coast, so please stay safe. There could be a possibility of mudslides and a lot of other stuff happening in the West Coast. Then we have some rain possibilities in the Gulf of Mexico and Texas region. Then we have some for Oklahoma, parts of Texas, all the way up to the Great Lakes. Then we have, of course, the rain possible coming in to the Florida region due to Nicole. Alright, guys. Let's see if there's anything else that I can share. Yeah, apparently Nicole is 7 hours ahead of schedule. So, yeah. It is developing rather quickly. It's a hurricane and election day and a blood moon happened. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. It is 21 minutes long. See you guys next time. Please pray for the people of Florida. Pray for the people of the Bahamas. Pray for everybody on the East Coast because they're going to get raked by this hurricane. Alright guys, I said raked with a K. Alright, see you guys next time. God bless.